Hello, happy Monday, everybody. Big Heroes Day today. We had the Heroes Open Division start up in Europe, a new teaser video go out, and the biggest news of today, of course, is Bronze Age Episode 15. How's it going, Mitchell?
It's going pretty well for me today. A little bit not so well considering I start school tomorrow, but I'm excited to get into some Heroes with all the news today.
Yeah, if I sound a little under the weather or I press the mute button and have a coughing fit, it's because I am a little bit under the weather, and I did press the mute button to have a coughing fit, so apologize in advance. First game we have is Silver League on Towers of Doom, Zagara player. Our repeat customer is Nashable on the Zagara. So we'll jump right into this one here. And then our second game will be a gold game, Tychus on Cursed Hollow. And that one has an email to go with it that we'll read so everybody knows what we're looking at.
So this one isn't from too long ago then, I would assume.
No. Mark, this gentleman, Mark Nashable, here sent me probably 18 replays. He's like, here, take all you need. And so this will be the second time we do them before I refill my coffers up. Because I don't want to go too far back. So it's probably within the last two weeks or so, 3 weeks.
I don't see a lot of Zagara anymore.
You don't. And she's really fallen off. I think it's, and throw your opinion at me as well. I think it's because her biggest strength before was like an early lane bully. Just other than Thrall, months ago, nobody could stay in lane with her. They just got bullied out of lane, and now that's simply not the case anymore. There are just more strong solo laners than there were a few months ago when she was really right in the middle of the meta.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think it's twofold. They tweaked her numbers such that she is not dealing near the same amount of damage as she used to be when she was kind of at the top of the meta, beginning of Season 2 into Season 1, and I think you're right. I think we have in this game so many solo laners now. So many people who are just good at holding a lane. And it's really hard to be a Zagara these days. It's really hard to be a Murky these days. It's really hard to be anything where your benefit is kind of staying still and pushing as much as possible just because there's so many lane bullies. We have Gul'dan and Alarak and Ragnaros. We have all these people that can just take control of a lane like nobody's business.
And, having said all that, though, we're not pros. We're just, regular Heroes players. And I think in, the average player's Hero League game, she's fine in the right situation. So I don't think there's certainly anything wrong with her picking her as a solo laner. She can still do that satisfactorily. Before she would always crush it, and now she just does it well enough, which is fine. But let's take a look at these comps, because in the loading screen, I had a couple things jump out at me. Why don't you start, and let's see if we have the same thing jump out to us looking at these comps.
Solo tank Artanis?
That wasn't what jumped out to me. What jumped out to me was solo frontline ETC against an Artanis and a Thrall. And
sure. Okay.
Yeah, I really think this is one of those games. We had one of these a couple weeks ago where I mentioned in the beginning, I think ETC, in my opinion, or at least when I play him, I have the most success when I can hold the front line and look for an opportunity to isolate somebody. I don't think in this comp, ETC will be able to hold the front line. He's going to kind of have to bob and weave a little bit, and I don't think he's as good as that because then he has to use his movement-based abilities to keep himself alive rather than initiate a kill on the other team.
One of these assassins, Zagara, Tracer, or Falstad, should have picked a different character.
I agree.
Yeah,
and
we don't know how the draft went.
Of course,
we don't know who picked what when. But yeah, that should have been taken care of. ETC is not, unfortunately, as beefy, pun intended, as a lot of the other solo warriors that are in this game, and even something like on the other side, we have Artanis and Thrall. So you have a front line there.
Absolutely,
Thrall's a really good tank.
Yeah, he can function as an off tank just fine, especially when the other team has a solo ETC on the front line. So let's watch to see how that plays out. The other thing is I'm going to look at the Chromie here. I know when I play Hero League, the only person I want playing Chromie is me. I don't have a lot of success with other people playing Chromie, but she's really hit or miss. If she hits her skill shots on the back line of Brightwing, Falstad, Tracer, and Zagara, obviously she's not going to hit Tracer. But Falstad, Brightwing, and Zagara, she could hit easily. And without burst healing, it's going to be really tough for Brightwing to keep up with a Chromie hitting her skill shots.
And an ETC that has to kind of dive out of the way.
Right.
Kind of has to extend himself over multiple heroes of the enemy team in order to get his usefulness. So yeah, I mean, I would agree.
So let's see. We'll get the show on the road and see how it goes. We'll check out our boy Nashable here.
One of the first things I'm noticing straight off the bat, yeah, Volatile Acid, you just hovered over it. I kind of go back and forth on this map. The Volatile Acid doesn't get a whole lot of value here in terms of you guys have push anyways. If you didn't have the Volatile Acid, you would still have great lane presence and lane push. In terms of Zagara and Falstad are just lane bullies, they can just do that really well. The cooldown reduction on the Banelings, or the W, I always forget what it's called.
Hydralisk.
Yes.
Look at ETC on the front line. What did we say? Right off the get-go. And then Chromie's damage. I think I'm coming in a little loud, so I'm going to turn my noise level down here a little bit.
I would have chosen, it's the E. I always forget the name of the E.
Oh,
I would have chosen
the roach drop. The roach drop.
The Roachlings, yeah. I would have taken the cooldown reduction on that one, because essentially what you've done here is you've extended the range of your Q, which is great for delay. Your E already has that range on it, and it would have not only would it have lowered the cooldown of that, which makes your delay that much better because you're able to get that E in when people are channeling. The Roachlings themselves get tougher too at that point. So they stick around longer. They help you bully a lane a little bit more. They help you delay that much more as well. So just something to think about.
This is something we didn't touch on with Zagara. Another thing she's pretty good at is stalling out channels. And I am always picking Chromie on this map because she's so good at stalling out on this map in particular, because there's so many places she can safely bomb away from. But we touched on it briefly, and I think it's something to keep in mind in the draft is body mass. The blue team has significantly more body mass than the red team does. And remember, we said ETC can't hold the front line, and if Chromie hits her skill shots, nobody's going to be up. Look at the hit point bars just off of one little encounter here. This is 19 seconds into the game. Brightwing is 3/4 dead, and ETC is half dead. So I think red definitely got outdrafted here.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Just looking at, we don't know how it went.
And that's never a good sign when Tracer goes down 25 seconds into the game. Okay, so first things first, if you're Zagara, you're the solo laner, and the solo lane on this map is generally bottom. And the reason for that is that there's 2 Merc camps pushing down there, so if you can control that lane, that's the lane you want to control. Not a big deal, but I do like the creep placement, though, especially this bottom one, so you don't get flanked. Now you got to react faster, though. React faster.
Yeah, I would say it's top or bottom, to be completely honest. Anything but mid.
It's a small thing, but I would prefer my solo laner bot. Although, look, this silver, we're 56 seconds in the game, and there's still nobody in the bottom lane. You should have expected the Thrall, and the other thing to remember is the creep spread gives bonus movement speed now, I believe. So you want to create yourself a little highway as a getaway with Zagara.
It grants you extra range on your auto attacks.
Is that what it is now? Oh, yeah. The range and the speed, though. So what I was saying is build a highway for yourself so you can get out.
So that creep that you actually just put down right there, that should have been the first creep that you put down. I like the sight, getting what comes up to you as you're doing that solo lane, what comes up behind you. But worrying about an escape is much more important as a Zagara than anything else.
And that was great. You built the highway I was talking about. It's there. And now you're putting down another one. Fantastic. So don't neglect your creep spread, and you're not. That's great. So now, whenever you're playing a hero that's going to try to split push, which is what Zagara's going to do, when you're by yourself in lane like this, you should almost be looking at the mini-map more than your screen. Because as soon as someone goes missing or you see somebody rotating up, that's your cue to back up. Because the second you die, all of your contributions to the game have been completely nullified. You cannot die if you're going to be a solo laner.
If you're Zagara and you're trying to escape in lane like that, what you just did, don't mount.
No, don't mount. Just run. That's why you get the movement speed on the creep, so you can just run away.
Exactly.
Yep.
You can outrun anybody on the creep.
And I love the early game salt. They're already criticizing the tank 2 minutes into the game. So you need to be aware, Nashable. See this? I don't like this. You look at the minimap here. You're so far exposed. This is not something you want to do. You need to be backing up and playing passively until your teammates get here.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't... I mean, okay, altars just spawn. You're trying to get the delay. You're probably trying to pressure. You're probably trying to do some stuff here. What I would say is a little bit more important when you are this specialist solo laner kind of person is getting to 4 before any of those big objectives pop on a map such as this. This is a 2 minute 30-second map. It's a lot harder on a map like Warhead Junction where you spawn at 1 minute and 30 seconds. But what you did was you went down to try to delay when you could have stayed up in lane, gotten 4, and given your team the advantage to delay bottom, to delay the top. You guys lost 2 here because bottom couldn't delay at all.
But you know what?
They were on even talents.
I see so many teammates putting so much emphasis on that. It's so early. It doesn't matter if you lose 2, really. I mean, of course you don't want to, but like whatever. As long as nobody dies and you're ahead or equal in experience, losing that extra shrine is not really that big a deal 2 minutes into the game.
No, I don't disagree. But it was just a note in terms of how to better play your role.
Well, right. And what I was saying, the reason I mentioned it is it's definitely not worth dying to stall out when really that tribute's just not that important. Or that altar bell or whatever they're calling it. Good creep spread. Now right here, watch the swap. You got to be way further back because if he swaps you, you're going to die. And this was really dumb engagement by Falstad. This is something we see a lot when we do these, is people taking fights outnumbered. There's almost no reason ever to take a fight outnumbered.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully you've got teammates to back you up right here. In normal cases, you just kind of want to back up.
Yeah.
Behind your wall and get as much soak as possible.
Sometimes the right thing to do is nothing.
Absolutely. You don't have to get so close to these minions when you're Zagra.
Well, also you took the Q range. You don't need to walk right up on those towers if you're going to Q them. Do them from further back. Otherwise, why'd you take the range on it?
Exactly. That was words on my mouth.
Okay, so something you want to be aware of here. These shrines are going to pull the people top down. You want to make sure you don't get rotated on because you're in prime position to do that. Also, try to report to the objectives more mana if you can, because you're not going to be able to contribute too much to your low mana here. So get there on time and make sure your mana is topped off, because your mana is definitely too low now. Good pressure on that mid lane, though.
Yeah, I think this is going to turn out in our favor here. Yeah, getting the tower.
Yeah, it took way too long in that top lane. I'm not quite sure what they're doing there.
And no, you're going down. Okay.
Yeah. Or not. I think that, I guess with them as many showing cop. Okay, there we go. Now we're going down. And this is a good idea. Dismount him. Not enough people do that, Nashable. That's great. To dismount them as they're coming in for the interrupt, that was really well done.
Okay.
It didn't matter because the Chromie interrupted, but...
We're running into a problem here already. And this is resource management.
Yep. Well, I touched on it already. He's got nothing to give here but auto attacks.
Right. One of my least favorite, game mechanics in the world, which is why I hate Solo and Catan, is resource management. It's having to be in charge of what you have available to you. You decided to stay and push in mid lane when you guys already had 7, when you could have gone back and tapped. Before you're tapping now, right? You guys have already lost. You guys lost both. You guys lost both of these altars. When you could, no, excuse me, they got 1. But you could have contributed a lot more to that fight if 1, you had tapped before the objective spawned right when the timer kind of comes up, and 2, I believe you took the talent at 4, which gives you extra hits on your auto attack, which is great on a pushing map.
Yeah.
Which is great on Garden of Terror. It's great on
Cursed Hollow, any of the big ones.
Spider Queen.
Yeah.
But I would have personally gone here for the one at 4, which the quest talent, which increases your attack damage based on how many heroes you hit. With good creep placement, with good auto attack strategy, and good stutter stepping, you can be a beast of a damage dealer as Zagara if you go for that auto attack damage buff, which would have helped you in the long run when you show up to objectives like that and you're low on resources and all you have are auto attacks to help you out.
I like this. I was just going to comment on this. A lot of Zagara players are good about putting creep down early in the game, and then they kind of forget about it as the game goes by. You should basically never have full creep charges. Whenever I get to my maximum one, which I believe is 3, I just put one down wherever I'm at. You just get random sight around the map.
There's in my opinion, there's almost never a bad place for creep.
Yep.
Unless it's like under your keep or your tower. I don't know that I ever have my D on cooldown or off of cooldown, I guess, when I'm playing her, because it's just anywhere that I can, I'm placing that creep.
Now attack. Now, let's talk about the ultimate selection here. I'm gonna say up front, I'm biased mostly because I'm really bad with Nidus Network. Like, I'm really bad with Nidus Network, and it's for that reason that I always take Maw. But Nidus Network is really good for split push pressure, which you're not going to get the same value out of. Where did he go?
We only had one other Maw sit down, and see, this is my problem. This is my problem with Maw. This is why I never take
Nidus
Network. You have to get to where you want to be in order to get that network down in the first place.
Yep.
Second of all, you got ETC on your team.
You took the words out of my mouth.
He took stage dive, which is fine, but that's actually still a really great setup for Maw.
Yes, it is.
Both of ETC's ultis, and even honestly, even just
power slide, just a power slide.
It's like we say with Mosh Pit all the time. All you need is one.
Yep.
All you need to do is take this Artanis out of the fight, and their team falls apart.
100%.
Tracer's all over Chromie. You're all over Thrall. The ETC and Falstad are all over Malfurion and Sylvanas. I mean, it's one of those things where you have to understand. You probably went for split push here. Your build, your ulti choice, everything tells me that you really wanted to get some map pressure, which is fine. Map pressure, I think, is actually underrated on this map, but you can't put too much value into it. You have to put more value into a team fight on this map, because regardless of what you are doing in between altars, the altars are the only things that are going to give you tower shots. If you can't take those through a team fight, then you're not going to win the game.
Well, and also Zagara and her base kit can put pressure. Like, she doesn't need to build for it necessarily.
Exactly. She does not have to. She is not a, I don't know, a Zool, for example, who has to build into a split pushing or a team fighting kit, who has to modify their kit one way or the other. Her split pushing kit is already baked in. It's everything that she can do. She can just split push really well. So I would have built more for team fighting here than anything else.
So let's watch, because so far there's only 2 Niduses down on the map, and that's something we can see if there's a third one. But I mean, they're all really close. They're all on the upper half of the map. I mean, one is top at the top lane, the other's at the bottom of the top lane. Basically, there's 0 value so far this game with that heroic. I will say your creep spread, though, is really good. It's really good.
Stop waiting in aggressive spots.
Oh, yeah.
There's the reason that Brightwing's almost dead right now, because there's no reason to wait in such an aggressive spot.
There's a lot of, when we do these replays, we see a lot of unnecessary and pointless team fighting.
I mean, I see it every day.
Yeah.
Regardless of.
And I know I still do it from time to time too, but you see it more in the, a little bit lower leagues. So, we lost Mitchell. Let's see if we can get him back. Mitchell, you there? Well, let's try this. All right, well, I will make the show go on while we figure out what happened with Mitchell. So you did get down another Nidus Network 2, but so far haven't used it yet. Now, what your split pushing has gotten you guys, though, is this level lead. That's largely from your kind of focus on the push in the early game, so that's great. But this, I'm not. Oh, I think that was unnecessary, and you're not down here with your team for this team fight. ETC is probably going to get himself killed because he literally just dove in the middle of the enemy team. Hinterland's picked up, got some value out of it. So you're getting a little too close there, driving yourself out. Chromie was able to pick off the Brightwing. Yeah, stay on your creep, you get your movement speed. There you go. You don't need to run this far out of the way. You could have just looped back around Nashable. I'm not sure. Ooh. What happened there? We're gonna go back just a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay, so your team gets into it. ETC gets himself killed. Brightwing gets yourself killed, and you get driven off by Artanis when he puts the Purifier Beam on you. Now, when he puts the Purifier Beam on you, as long as you keep moving, so you can just loop back around right here. So your team is down here getting wailed on, so I think at this point, the proper move is to simply withdraw anyway. However, if you were to re-engage, I think you do it by looping back around here and dropping your E and your W back here. But right now, with 3 people dead, and you have basically very little life, it's just you and ETC. The proper move for you is simply to leave. Yep. You kind of come down here in this Nidus right here, and then Artanis kills you anyway. So yeah, that was a moment just to pull back there. Excuse me. So that definitely did not go well for you guys. So apparently Mitchell's computer crashed. So we gotta wait for him to reconnect, but we'll carry on in the meantime. Oh. We're just talking about you. Alright, let me see. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Do you have the screen again?
Yes, I do.
Alright, we are ready to rock and roll. Basically, his team got wiped and he re-engaged when he should have simply left. I don't know if you had the stream up. I was talking about on the stream, he got Artanis' Purifier Beam put on him, and when regular movement speed will outrun that thing. So with a hero like Zagara, you can still contribute to a team fight when that's on you by simply moving and dropping your E's and your W's while you're moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I really don't prefer the Purifier Beam at all on Artanis because it's so easy to outrun.
Yeah,
you know your way around it. It's so easy to counterplay.
It's the way to use that is with something else like a root or a slow or a mosh pit, something like that. Chaser just ran in there and got exploded, and now you guys are gonna get wrecked. Oh, nice kill on the Thrall. Way to hang in there. There's the Purifier Beam. See, this is what... You don't have to... Look at this. Okay, so Nashable did the same thing. You can see just regular movement. He's back up. Falstad doesn't need to be all the way back here. He could have looped around, and as long as you stay moving, obviously it's not going to be the same as if you don't have it on you, but you can still throw out a Hammerang, maybe put your lightning on somebody and move around and at least be present. You don't need to run all the way back from that thing. There you go, Falstad. There you go. Don't run through it though. Loop.
Stop taking hits rolling quest.
He did wipe somebody out with it actually right before you were gone.
Yeah, that's fine. You should still stop taking it.
Yeah, there are situations where it is okay, but especially as you start to climb the ladder, Mighty Gust is better. I used to take it more simply because I was so bad at Mighty Gust, but the only way you get better at it is by using it. This is a good team fight for you guys, especially if you can get Artanis down. You know what would make this much easier to get him down is a Devouring Maw.
What did he take at 13? Which Hunter Killer did he take it at?
Mutalisk now have a bounce attack and heal. The self-sustain.
Not bad. The resistant on creep is much better.
Especially because his team's so soft.
And you're good about putting down creep in the first place.
Right, that's it.
And I would have definitely gone for Hunter Killer at 16, which makes the
bonus damage
to maximum health. Yeah, it shreds through everybody. It's one of those things where people don't really pay attention to the Mutalisk.
Yep. That's the one I always take. Is the bonus damage on heroes.
Lost in the shuffle, and it's so yeah. I take that one almost exclusively now because it's so powerful.
Where did he go? There he goes. So, I will say I don't think you're getting the value out of Nidus that you would have on Devouring Maw this game.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like. I mean, of course, I missed out on a couple of minutes.
You didn't miss any usage. You didn't miss any usage of the
right.
Nidus.
It doesn't seem like Nidus is really doing us that well.
No, it's not.
And most of your positioning for the Nidus is really safe. You're doing it all the way over to the right, which you can actually swap between all of those.
Yeah, you're not saving much time basically. Fast. What are you doing down here? Okay, so. I mean, I know what you're doing. Your team is in an engagement here, though. You don't want to neglect your team fighting to putting down creep. I mean, they won the engagement, but they took on a 5-on-4, basically. Oh, he put the Purifier Beam on Tracer. That was silly. Their Tracer isn't terrible.
She's doing her. Okay.
Yeah.
This
Artanis is wrecking him. There you go, team wipe. Nice. And you hung in there with low life. That's actually a skill that I don't think enough players put a focus on. I mean, sometimes you get so low you just have to leave. I get it. But a 5-on-5. There are ways to contribute sometimes if you're careful about it when you're at low life. And if you're a hero that has some kind of self-sustain, sometimes that means just backing up, recuperating for a couple seconds, and then re-engaging later. This is why Chromie is good on this map, by the way.
At endless delay.
Yeah, seriously. Especially if she took Mobius Loop, which she did not. Which is good. I don't take Mobius Loop anyway, but on this one, the cooldown reduction means you can basically delay forever. And also, Chromies, if you're going to delay, you delay from down here, by the way. And ETC needs to get up in her. That's what's going to stop this from happening. He needs to get up in me. It took way too long to do that. Yep, and now this just went from good to terrible. That ETC needed to push that Chromie out long before all of this bad stuff happened. See now...
I'm not exactly sure why they lost that right there. I feel like there was a delay getting to the... getting the altar starting to channel.
I think
the ETC, you're right, wasn't in the correct position, but I don't think that was the problem necessarily.
Let's go back and look at it. Well, first of all, I don't know why he went to this Nidus. This fight's over here. You guys have two of them dead. I don't know, maybe go somewhere else. But I mean, you're not doing anything up here. You're done up here. This is done.
I would have gone to that bottom Nidus and tried to steal camp.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Zag isn't particularly quick about it, but maybe not steal one. Just do your own. You have the thing down there. You're forced them to respond to it. But either way, let's go back a little bit. I think what happened is blue team had all their heroes just coming off of spawn, so they were all full. Chromie had been poking them down, so red team wasn't full, and Tracer got blowed up real quick. So it turned into a 5-on-4, like lickety split.
I don't think that.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the. So Nashable, our boy, is going to channel this altar, which is what he should be doing.
Just about to finish.
That's fantastic. Tracer
Part of the delay
was down here finishing that up. That's fine.
Yeah, she got that. Great extra shots. No worries. Part of the delay as he crosses over comes from the fact that he stops to put down a creep tumor and stops to put down
Nidus thing.
Or Nidus. I would have just put down the creep tumor, to be completely honest.
And just kept going.
And he threw out banelings too. Okay, I say this constantly to people. This isn't League of Legends. This isn't Dota. You don't have 45 minutes. This is a game of seconds. This is a game where 2 seconds spent doing something unoptimal is the difference between winning and losing a game. It's that precise. It is a much more rapid fire version of a MOBA where you don't have time to make up for mistakes. If you had made a mistake, that sucks, and it might have cost you guys the game, just because of that 2 to 3 seconds that you were trying to do something else. And this probably happens in your games. This happens in my games all the time.
Now,
it is such a little thing. I do it constantly. I say to myself, oh, I can take 2 seconds to do this when I should have really been doing something else in the first place.
I will say in Nashable's defense, though, because I agree with you. However, having said that, if I'm him and I'm looking at the minimap, they have 3 people dead. His teammates should have been able to handle this 110% without him. He was not needed over there. There's 16 seconds before they're up, and there's 3 of them. They know it's 3-on-2. Look at how timid Red is playing, right?
And there's no reason.
No.
I don't know why Falstad's not all over that Sylvanas.
Yep. Both Falstad and ETC. Now, he got wrecked, ETC, and that's why he's backed up. But they should have been all up in here pushing them back.
Okay. There, right there. That's where it goes wrong. ETC, where are you going? You're walking away from your healer. This is...
Now, this is ETC right here. The ETC tanks, you need to eat this Q. If he blocks this Q, there's no interrupt.
There's no reason for you to walk around there.
See, that was it right there.
You walk straight through that bush, and you get in somebody's face.
Yep.
You do not power slide in like that. That might have been ETC's fault after all, to be completely honest.
I think that was 100% ETC's fault. And well, not 100%, let's say 80. And there's a little bit on Brightwing and Falstad there.
There was no reason.
Tanks. I know tanks are low damage players, and you know I play a ton of tanks. If you get up on a Chromie, you can go after them, man. That's okay. You don't have to always set it up. You can take the reward for yourself and get up on that Chromie.
That's the thing. To be completely honest, like there is no such thing as a character in this game who doesn't harass Chromie. Other
up
than
in person,
another
yeah.
Chromie.
Yeah, exactly.
That ETC should have been all up in her face, making her scared of her life. So should have the Falstad. So should have the Brightwing. To be completely honest, I don't think that was. That was a complete misplay on
ETC's
part of that tank.
Oh, Chromie and Sylvanas left the game. Well, that would be good for our team here. I gotta make sure I remember to unmute myself if I have to cough. You know, and I haven't talked about it too much, because this isn't a great kind of game to demonstrate this. Because of what we talked about in the early game, ETC can't hold the front line for red team, so there isn't really a front line for Nashable to hide behind per se. But positioning in team fights is really important, especially when you're on a squishier character. So just be aware of where your tank is. I've seen you have overstepping him a couple times. And like I said, in this game in particular, I know that's a little rough because ETC has to be all over the place. Because he can't stay in his own front line, never mind you.
And that's where some of these other talents come into to handy that we're talking about here. That's where some of the things like the cooldown reduction on your E comes into play, where the resistant on creep comes into play, where extra bonus damage on your auto attack comes into play, where you can have a little bit more of an effective.
So now, once again, Nashable, you're not with your team when they're taking an engagement to put creep down, and that's a big deal. I guess you're split pushing here, but I mean, if your team dies, that could be game almost.
Yeah, the bigger deal I feel like isn't that he wasn't there when they started engaging, is that he didn't move afterwards. He's still up here, he's still split pushing, and now he's concentrated on altars that are happening. This might turn out in your favor. You might get one altar here. That is not worth losing an entire team fight.
Now this this might be the one situation in which you get value out of Nidus if you get down there.
Right.
I don't know what Blue is doing. They're not contesting anything. And ETC just used stage dive to get up here. Great job by the ETC. And Chromie interrupts it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, okay. If you respond, this is where minimap awareness comes into play, right? Because if you respond to that team fight as soon as it breaks out, you guys don't have this problem.
I mean, they end up getting it anyway.
Both of them anyways. It turns out in your favor. Awesome. But I would imagine that the reason that he sent this in for replay is because this starts to not go in their favor after 20 now.
Nice job, ETC there. Good way to lock down a squirrely Sylvanas, because she can be squirrely sometimes. Look at the Chromie damage though. Oh, sorry about that. This game is definitely all over the place though. 5 minutes ago, red team had 5 forts, and now they're down to 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of where...
Okay, I'm going to point this out now. This is something we see in these lower league replays a lot, is not taking advantage of favorable situations. And when you're at level 21 and the other team only has 3 people and you have 4, and your tank and healer are both up, that's a favorable situation that you should take advantage of. They're not doing any camps. They're not putting pressure anywhere on the map. I know Brightwing was out of mana, but she can teleport right back in, so that's not an issue. But nothing is going on here by red team to take advantage of the fact that they're up.
Why was ETC her thing there? Second, why are you guys not taking back this bottom one that you're...
Okay, now Nashable is, which is great. See, now your team is taking another fight here.
Right. He bounced. You just left.
So
this is what we talked about last week too, right? Which is like, is it your fault for not showing up, or is it your team's fault for engaging without you?
And the answer is both.
A little column A, it's a little column B. I don't know.
The answer is both.
One is any more or less wrong or right than the other. There was a mistake that happened in both places there. Should have been rectified.
Now, having said that, your team is still at advantage here, and nothing is going on. ETC is trying to solo a camp, which he shouldn't be doing. ETC should be up here with these people. They're trying to take something here. ETC needs to be here in the mid.
I would imagine that this is where blue team says to each other, let's stop messing around and group up and win this thing.
Oh, nice job, Tracer. Nice job, Tracer.
She's gonna pay for it. No.
Maybe? Go get her, Brightwing. Go get her. Nice.
Ooh, God swap on the wrong person.
Oh, this Tracer has balls of steel. I love it. Oh, except she didn't nuke the minion. Okay, sorry, I got distracted there. There we go, Nashable taking advantage of a terrible haunting wave by Sylvanas. No, I don't know why anyone's pinging retreat. You guys are up 5 people to 2. Get in there. Where did our boy go? Is he not on the map right now?
I'm assuming he just bounced in there to get the Alpha mana.
Okay, there we go. Yes, he did. Okay, fair enough.
It's equivalent to being
hurting. Yeah. Nice use of the Purifier Beam on this map, though. That's a good use for it there.
Yeah, excellent.
But I mean, you guys absolutely have to. Wow, the upgrade on the Sundering, you never see that. Okay, if you guys lose this, that's a problem.
You are not a tank killer. You are not Tychus. There is no reason for you to be attacking Tychus or Artanis right there.
I like this channel, Nashable. Nice job. Nice job. And despite all of that weird stuff that just happened, yeah, I mean, you know, in this game in particular, repeated Maws on Artanis would have gone so far. Because he's really been causing him trouble. So if he just Mawed Artanis out of the fight, that would have really gone a long way. Well,
That's a good get for you guys. It's a good boss.
Yep. Don't over pursue. She's gone. She's gone. All right. Well, you guys are in the pole position now. I like this choice here. Wow.
You know, their comp would have been a perfect comp for Warhead Junction.
This one right here, yeah, it really would have been. And then Nidus would have been the perfect selection.
Right, exactly.
Not for me, mind you, because I'm terrible with Nidus. But for somebody who's not terrible with Nidus, that would have been a really good choice. Run, Tracer, run! I'm going to say Tracer, I think, is Red Team's MVP right now.
Okay.
Just because I'm curious, let's take a look.
This is a mistake I see.
Oh, 10 deaths on the Tracer. Oh, man. I lied. Falstad is this team's MVP.
Yeah, for sure. This is a mistake I see constantly, and that is equivalency. People do not understand that in this game, just because something is happening bad for your team doesn't necessarily mean that that is a bad thing in total for
in the course of the game, right?
What I mean by that is, okay, they're getting push bottom, right? Why does Falstad leave? Why does ETC leave? Why does Tracer show up at bottom when you guys could have gotten equivalent push at top?
Yep,
you guys could have gotten the same exact thing done. You guys would have been on equal altar levels instead of being down a keep. Now, there's just no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason for it. It's almost inexcusable to the point where it makes me angry when I see people not understanding.
And that's something you can learn. You know, we've talked about this before on stream or whatever. Good stall here. Good stall. Is when you watch. Oh man, that's brutal. Falstad getting blown up there. That's a problem.
Yeah, he is no longer MVP.
No.
He went into that engagement with about a quarter of his life.
Yeah. That's when you just have to have faith in your team that somebody will interrupt it. Oh man, Tracer ate a full Chromie combo. Oh jeez. That's brutal. What I started to say was, so Nashable, you're doing a nice job kind of hanging around, doing damage, not overly exposing yourself. This is actually probably the best positioning I've seen with regards to within the context of a team engagement. The whole game is right here. Really well played. So I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to finish my thought, and then we'll have our final thoughts on the game. Which is...
Surprised we got this review play.
Yeah, right? So, watching esports, Heroes esports, those guys are way better than us. So, what is it that you can learn by watching them? Number one, I've said this time and time and again, is the number one thing I learned from watching them is how often they simply let things go. They'll let objectives go. They'll let forts go. They'll let keeps go if they're not in a position in which they can do anything about it anyway. And this goes back into exactly what you're saying. We're on Infernal Shrines. They're going to get the top objective. Well, one of us is dead, and they've almost got it anyway. Well, while they're getting that, why don't the four of us go get a Merc camp? Or take the bottom fort while they're working on top? Do something other than go into a place where we're at a disadvantage, put ourselves at a further disadvantage, and lose the objective anyway. So those are the things that you can learn by watching esports, is that if something bad goes somewhere on the map, you can do something good on the other side of the map, and simply letting things go. Of course, objectives are important, but you don't need to contest everything.
No, I mean, oftentimes it becomes a struggle watching esports because those guys will actually decide to do really risky things in lieu of doing something else. If they're about to lose the shrine, then they're actually going to go push really, really hard at bot or at top, wherever is far away from that shrine. And and possibly get a fort and possibly do more damage to the other team than the Punisher could have done to their own team, which forces out a response, right? A lot of the times now, okay, we're talking about this game like you guys lost and you guys won pretty handily at the end here. This game was a bloodbath, but I think that there's a lot that can be improved upon here. I think our Zagra did well. I think 2 deaths is perfect.
Yep. I think great siege damage, good hero damage.
Yeah. Excellent siege damage. I mean, you were responding to certain things, or you weren't responding to certain things. Sorry, when I think that you should have.
Right.
But that being said, a lot of the tips that we're giving you can kind of go under confirmation bias. We won anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It does. If you want to climb, if you want to take it more seriously, if you want to be better, then a lot of these things are going to help you. They're going to come back around at a later time in a later game where you guys aren't so fortunate.
So, if you look at the mini map here, you can see how much creep spread he has, which is fantastic. His creep spread, I mean, this is great. This is really, really good creep spread. Obviously, part of that was Blue wasn't cleaning it up as they should have been. That's something a lot of players who play against Zagara don't do, is they don't clean up the creep like they should. But that isn't to take anything away from Nashable. He put it everywhere.
No.
But
shame on that Malfurion, man. I mean, he
for sure.
He's got his job in the world.
For sure.
Clear creep bug game.
However, there was a couple of instances in the game where you put so much focus on the creep spread that you weren't at things that I think your team would have liked you to be there for. So keep that in mind, those decision-making things. And honestly, in the context of solo Hero League, I think one of the very hardest things to do is effectively split push for 2 reasons. One, it can be difficult to do if you don't watch the mini-map, and we could tell that was a little bit of what he was trying to do this game. This isn't a great map for it, but also 2, and I think this is the more important one, a lot of, and I would say most, especially in Silver, of the players you're going to play with don't understand how to work with somebody who's going to be split pushing. So just
more importantly than that, and this is something I actually am going to rip straight from the mouth of Kyle Ferguson, but oftentimes you will find that, and especially at lower leagues, for example, if you're going to try to level your bronze, for example, split pushing actually comes back to haunt you more than it helps you. For example, if you're Zool on Blackheart's Bay and you are controlling that top and mid lane, what you're essentially doing is getting all this XP, you're doing a really good split push, but at the same time what you're doing is you're actually giving tools to people who don't understand how to use them.
Yeah.
And in other words, what that means is you're literally getting an XP bonus, you're getting a level lead for people who are going to squander them, for people who are going to do what Blue Team did in this game, which is engage on people for no reason, kind of just wander into an engagement when you should have, when it's kind of just only just you. This was a complete throw on the side of Blue Team. If this was our level, I think Blue Team would have won here.
Yeah, I think Blue Team won the draft for sure.
Tranquility is the wrong ulti choice there. The Thrall didn't. He took Season Marksman at 1, which just absolutely makes no sense. But you guys got lucky, is what I'm trying to say here. You guys got lucky that Blue Team caught the stupid, as I like to say it.
That's a good expression.
And just decided to stop playing the game.
I mean, so with split pushing, it can be a powerful tool, and I think it gets less effective as you go higher, and harder to do as well.
Right. And that's why I'm not trying to tell you had a wrong build or anything. That's why I was kind of talking about your talent so much in this, just because, and this goes back to a discussion about understanding your role in the team, but if you had a little bit more team fight and a little bit less split push, you guys would have won this way fast. You guys would have won this 10 minutes ago.
All right, so I think for Nashable, number 1, make informed heroic choices. I think you were actually using Nidus in this one after watching the game, less as a mobility thing and more as like a
Okay,
Oh,
so I'm going to tell you exactly what they did wrong. And exactly what they did wrong is they didn't have organized team fights. They didn't use their chromie to their advantage, and they let you guys do the things that you wanted to do towards the end of the game. You guys wanted to get keeps back. You guys wanted to get some split push here. You guys wanted to, excuse me, you guys wanted to get these altars that weren't necessarily a lot of the things that you guys were doing was actually right, and they started responding to you guys in the wrong manner. They and what I like to say is they catch the stupid is because essentially what happens is Team A is ahead of Team B. Team B starts to make the slightest bit of a comeback, of maybe a 10% of a comeback, right? And Team A, all of a sudden, something happens and everything just falls apart. And it turns that Team B from a 10% comeback into a 100% comeback that Team B is going to win it.
and
Um,
I'm gonna give
there
something.
was a lot of moments where ultis were used wrong. I mean, part of what happened with blue team, I think, was ulti choices here. Not getting blinds, especially for somebody like Tracer, and not doing Twilight Dream, really, really hurt them.
Well,
And those last three altar phases, they just walked into you guys and died. They just walked in, tried to get a delay, failed, and then got blown up for it.
and I'm gonna take.
So
I'm even gonna take it away from ultimate selections and all that to what they did specifically in this game is look at their death timers right now: 56, 44, 59, and 5. And you see this in all levels of all games, which is when somebody dies in the late game and these death timers are so long, another death 20 seconds later, those staggered death timers are absolute killers. You cannot have staggered death timers. So Blue, at the end of this game, repeatedly re-staggered their death timers over and over and over and over again. I mean,
right.
a lot of throws are staggered death timers.
Right, absolutely.
Sometimes the right move is doing nothing and simply waiting for your team.
When you are aiming, that is actually something you look for. You look.
Yes, absolutely.
It is a method. It is a comeback mechanic. It is a method of which to come back from. Not only are you getting extra XP from kills because you're high levels, you are extending the time with which you do not have to deal with the other team. So there was, I believe, the altar phase before this one. Like Artanis, for example, just kind of wandered in when his Sylvanas was already dead and had been dead for about 15 seconds. There's just that kind of thing where the blue team just decided that we were going to win this. We're just going to go really crazy and we're just going to go all out and it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And obviously, it did not end up that way because you guys, towards the end, not only did you guys get a really decent power spike, I mean, Zagara's got a good 20, Tracer's got a good 20, ETC's got a great 20 because he took the
stage dive upgrade, which is awesome.
Yeah, I love the stage dive.
It's so good.
And that kind of stuff.
And he even took the Hinchland Blast upgrade. I can't tell you how many. I can't tell you how many times I haven't seen that.
The stupid is a very vague term, but it is one of those things where they let you guys come back. They had total control of this game. They had total control of the map. They had total control of a lot of these camps most of the time. I hardly saw Red Team get any camps this game. And they let you guys have this.
Now, I say the number one thing to get better is die less. And just by watching this game, Nashville played pretty conservative. He only died a couple times, which is great. So you're not silly with your lives, which is fantastic. You have phenomenal creep spread. However, don't negate team engagements for the creep spread. You could tune that down a little bit to be a little more responsive to your team. So I think there's a little adjustment there. But overall, your creep spread was great. There was a couple team fight. There was one that I didn't like where you re-engaged and you died. That was when Mitchell was away. But other than that, there was a lot of things I saw where you were on the back line, you were doing damage, even when you were at low life. So contributing to team fights while at low life is something you don't see people do well from this game. It looked like you did pretty well with that.
And I think the one thing that also stuck out to me too is that being a split pusher, you have to adjust your gameplay. Split pushing is really, really good on certain maps, A, but more importantly, B is really good up to a certain point, and usually that point's around level 13 or so.
Yeah, it's right. It's right when. It's right. I would say it's right when if you were to get picked off, that's a big deal.
Right. Exactly. And that, right, 14, 15.
Yeah, right in there.
Death timers start to get a little bit longer. Death timers start to actually become a thing where you have to be worried about it. There was a couple times where, Brian just said there was a couple times where you didn't respond. Just kind of that stuff to improve. Split pushing only becomes so effective towards the late game, so don't concentrate on it so much. Concentrate more on sticking with your team.
All right. Well, thanks again, Mark, for submitting all of those replays, because he sent me a bunch of them. I would never run out. So this is the second one we've done for him. I do appreciate it. We're going to go to our gold game for today. So I am going to bring that game up, and then I'm going to read the email. But yeah, really, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this too much. Really, really look at those staggered death timers late in the games. It's really such a big deal. And I'm willing to bet, if you're ever in a game and you're like, what in the world happened? We were controlling that game. How did we throw it? I bet you if you go look at the replay, probably, 3 out of 4, Mitchell, is engaging with staggered death timers allows the other team to get back into it. It's really such a big deal.
Absolutely. It's something that happens everywhere, too.
Yeah, for
While
sure.
you're getting that loaded up, I'm going to be right back.
All right. Every time I got to disconnect with an older replay, that always takes a little bit longer. All right. And then I will also get the email up from the person who sent it in. Let's see. Is this here? Oh. Okay, here we go. All right. So when Mitchell comes back here, actually I can boot up this replay in the meantime. So this is actually a Smurf from one of our other viewers who we've done one of his games before. So he's hard for him to catch live. He did it once because he's all the way, well, at least for me, all the way in the UK because I'm in Los Angeles. So I thought that was very cool when he managed to make it live. That was pretty sweet. So I'm sure he'll be watching this on YouTube. This is his gold Smurf account. So this is a gold level game. He is on Tychus this game, who is definitely one of the assassins that is in the meta right now. I do not play Tychus, but Mitchell does, and he'll be able to give very specific Tychus feedback for this game. I believe this game is on Cursed Hollow, and it is.
All right, we're ready for our Tychus team then?
Yep, I'm booting it up and then I'll read the email. I will say, just kind of looking at the comps though, I like our comp much better than theirs.
Prepare yourself.
All right, let's get to the email real quick. Attached another replay, started with blah blah, decided gold 4, 24 game, blah, 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 blah. In this game I played Tychus. I don't know if it fits, blah 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 blah. I am reasonably sure I cost us the game by casting Q on a minion wave right at the very end. Well, you'll see. And I wasn't sure about how to deal with Murky, who seemed to be keeping his team in the game all on his own. Okay, so he said he's pretty sure he cost his team the game because of queuing a wave later in the game, and they weren't quite sure how to deal with Murky.
Do we have a date on this replay by any chance? Probably not, and that's okay. That's fine.
It's about 3 weeks. 3 weeks old.
Okay, so this
No,
is back
actually,
Tychus.
2 weeks old.
Tychus is bugged right now. his overkill isn't dealing enough damage as it should, and so this is before Tychus's bug.
There you go.
Let's see how this game turns out.
So let's talk about Murky.
Whoever this is, Chelsea
Boots.
Don't take this personally. I'm just going to be ultra critical of you, just because I'm a level 11 Tychus player and he's like now one of my top 3 heroes of all time. So don't take it personally. I'm just going to be kind of ultra critical.
So Murky is not in the meta right now, and for good reason, because in order for him to fit into a competitive type game, it really needs to be the perfect scenario. 1. 2, usually if it is the perfect scenario, there's somebody that can do what he does probably better. And 3, there are so many heroes that counter Murky, and one of those is Tychus.
This is what surprises me so much about this game.
Right.
We're obviously going to see how this turns out.
Right. Now, what I think is starting to happen, and Mitch and I talked about this a little before on stream, I think what's starting to happen a little bit, because I know when Kyle Ferguson, who we reference from time to time, they do Team League on Saturdays with some of the guys from the other podcasts, and his wife plays sometimes, and she plays Murky, and they use Murky occasionally in their Team League games. And he says it all the time, and I agree. I think when people do play him, 1, it's the really hardcore Murky players, so they're probably going to be good at him. But 2, is if you don't see him very much, people forget how to deal with him.
And I forget that he's there entirely.
That too, yeah. So number 1, with Murky, you cannot forget that he's there. So that's the number 1 rule with Murky, is you can't ignore him, you have to account for him. So be aware of that. And the number 2 thing is almost always, there's obviously exceptions to the rule, almost always it is not worth using your high cooldown abilities to kill him. Don't use your uber heroics on him. I don't want to see Sonya leaping on Murky this game, or anything silly like.
The egg is already dead.
Yeah, that's the exception, of course, if the egg is dead. If you get a full respawn timer out of it, that's different. But I mean, right. I don't want to see ETC power sliding in on a Murky unless maybe he's peeling. There's nobody in this game that would need to be peeled for by that. So I don't want to see ETC power sliding in on the Murky. So those are kind of the first things to keep in mind when dealing with Murky. Now let's go into this game's comps. You look at these comps, what do you see?
I'm seeing really weak team fight from blue team, to be completely honest.
That was my first thought too.
Really strong team fight from
red.
Our red team here, with the exception of the Kharazim.
Right.
Maybe it was the only healer the guy had. Maybe everything else was banned. Who knows? There's a lot better options.
Yeah, and Kharazim is
of a solo healer.
Right. Kharazim is good right now. I don't particularly like him in this specific scenario because he's going to have 2 other frontliners up there with him. Those narrow corridors on this map are going to get cluttered. There's better solo healers, but I mean, not the end of the world.
No, it's not the end of the world. But in an ideal world, the Kharazim is a second support who takes his assassin build and just murders people's faces off.
Now, as our resident Tychus guy, Stitches has ability damage reduction. I would think Tychus would be shooting the crud out of him this entire game.
You know, you'd think, and this is actually something I have a huge problem with heroes, and its consistency. So, in other words, if we were to look at the tooltip for Tychus, Minigun would say that it increases basic attack damage to equal 2% of the, or I think it's 3% now. It's something like 2.5 or 3% of the target's maximum health as damage on your basic attacks. Now, as of the Ragnaros patch, because Ragnaros came after Varian, it was one of those 2 patches where Blizzard decided that, or it was a bug, that Minigun was going to count as ability damage. When before that patch, it counted as basic attack damage.
And this is his D you're talking about.
This is the Minigun. This is Tychus's trait. This is 90% of the reason that I picked Tychus is because his trait is so amazing. You have to watch out for that. It's something that you have to know. The tooltips of your damage numbers will give you different colors based off of how your damage is being applied, whether it's basic attack damage, whether it's splash damage, whether it's ability damage. But Tychus's D right now is ability damage, unfortunately. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid. I think it might even be a bug that they're just kind of not aware of, or they don't care. They want to see how it works. But it's one of those things that you have to be aware of as a player, especially going against somebody like Stitches, who might take Dampen Magic. He did take Dampen Magic.
With your Gul'dan, which makes sense.
I believe we took Run and Gun, which gives us our extra, or press the advantage rather. That's the only one I would have taken at that level. Everything else is a waste of your time. The extra 35% range is huge.
Now,
for Tychus.
We talked about last game. We said ETC can't hold the front line, and I think the same is going to be true of Stitches on the other side. Stitches will not be able to hold this front line by himself. With a Gul'dan, I gotta turn my volume down again. With a Gul'dan and a Tychus and a Sonya, we don't see a lot very much right now, but she still does good damage. So it's something you gotta be aware of. And we're gonna watch Murky this game. Of the people on red team here, I think Tychus is the best one equipped to deal with Murky, and when Murky shows up, we will show you why. It's because Murky gets the vast majority of his push through his pufferfish. People tend to ignore it. You don't need to ignore it. You have to make sure that whoever... So you're like right now, rule number 1 with Murky is don't leave him alone. So he should not be down here by himself for very long.
I don't believe that we can see that yet. I don't believe that we as Tychus can see that yet. Just because our waves aren't pushed down there yet.
Right.
But awesome.
You're going down there. This is going to be perfect. Okay, so we'll be able to tell you exactly.
You typed, and I don't think pinks come through on these old replays.
Nope.
But just pink.
Right there. Okay, there's.
Okay. Mistake number 1. Here we go.
Shoot the pufferfish.
What the hell is wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Tychus has the second fastest attack speed in the game next to Tracer. Next to, like, Samuro if all 3 clones are hitting you.
Karazim when he's got his speed fists going on.
Right. Especially at 16. There's no reason for you not to attack that pufferfish right there.
And actually,
essentially what I like to do...
Always attack the damn pufferfish.
No, not even that, to be completely honest. When you're whose pufferfish is getting attacked, you are so annoyed. You are very pissed off. Because that's about, I don't know,
all you got.
60% of your DPS
and
from that pufferfish?
Pretty much all of your wave clear.
Right,
pretty
much.
So Tychus should crush this lane with Murky.
I'm projecting onto you right here, Chelsea Boots, but I would imagine you wanted to go for a wave clear as soon as you got down there, which is the correct pattern to do it. You overkill first, you auto attack some, and then you do your grenade, or you grenade then auto attack. Doesn't matter. But you open up with overkill every single time. Not what you wanted to do here.
Because of Murky.
You want it to come. Right. You want to actually save your overkill to the last possible second when you're going against Murky, because your auto attacks are that good against him. And I'm not kidding you. You will be done with his pufferfish faster than it can get 1 second of tick down, because that's how fast that you attack. You can, I said this to Brian earlier before we started this replay, but you can get, and we don't know what you take it for here, but you can get a full 0.33 seconds on your Into the Rhythm, and extra time right at the beginning if you just attack Murky with it. Let's keep going here, but for mistake number 1 is
not attacking the
attack
pufferfish.
The dang pufferfish. Kill it.
Yep.
You are Tychus. You don't do anything but kill pufferfishes.
And there are certain heroes that don't have the attack speed to kill the pufferfish, but Tychus is not one of them. And see, by the way, all of this life you've lost here is predicated on not killing the pufferfish because you were actually tanking the minions in addition to Murky.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're not going to keep saying it, but obviously attack the pufferfish.
I mean, every time that it happens, I'm going to shake my head in disappointment because it's. I'm sorry.
If the only thing you learn from this game to counter a Murky is attack the pufferfish, and most of the assassins in the game have the attack speed to do it.
Absolutely. I think the only one that doesn't is Ragnaros.
Right. Yeah.
And you are giving Murky this lane.
Yep.
You are literally handing this lane to
And
Murky.
I bet you this is 100% just because Murky's not around. Especially if he's a newer, because there was a time, maybe 8 months ago where Murky was sort of hanging around the fringe of the meta a little bit. and if he's a newer player, and before that time, it just hadn't happened. And you see, by the way, not only there did you not attack the pufferfish, but you ate the pufferfish damage. Those little bastards hurt a lot. Do not eat those pufferfishes.
This is why we're talking about it so much.
Yep.
It's not because you have to develop the skills to kill a pufferfish.
You just didn't
if
know.
want to rise up in the ranks, but it's because that is a massive, massive part of his kit.
Yep.
Look at the damage that you're giving away on the wall right here.
And
you have all of this ammo. I mean,
it's
I'm
100% because he doesn't know, obviously, but now he does.
And now he does. I mean, this is every single time that it's going to happen in this game. Yeah, you're walking right by it. You can't. Okay, so if you don't know, then let's go over it. Because ability damage does nothing to pufferfish. Splash damage does nothing to pufferfish. It
auto attack.
It will only die if you auto attack it. And you have to. You just absolutely have to.
Here's number 2. In this game, if I were Tychus, I would not respond to this tribute until Murky did. Because otherwise, everybody's going to go to this top lane, and Murky, who's clearly not coming, he's just going to crush this bottom lane, and he's going to give his team a really nice lead. And furthermore, in this specific situation, your whole team is late anyway.
And to further your point, had he been paying attention to the pufferfish when he should, he wouldn't have had to tap when he did, and that means that he wouldn't have had to go back in order to fill up on his health and mana before this tribute occurred.
Correct.
He could have just tapped and gone up there if he decided that response.
Losing that duel was definitely a big deal.
With you now, and I definitely think sticking around was the right call. And second of all, Sonya,
what is she doing? I know what she's trying to do, but she's way, way late. This is a ping retreat moment for these guys at the top. So what should have done different here is Tychus should win the lane matchup against Murky. And if that were the case, these lanes would be reversed. And then it would be Murky wouldn't be able to leave the lane because you were keeping him there.
And it wouldn't have been a bad choice for you to then go up and get tribute if you had been controlling that lane.
Correct.
But because he was putting so much pressure on the lane, that's why Brian said you stick around and you deal with that Murky, or else he's going to take your wall.
And now, two quick observations. We're going to look at... This is where Murky is as this tribute is spawning, okay? So 1 tower down, 1 tower about 75% health. When they finish channeling this, we're going to go look to see where he's at. Number 2, Murky players. If Murky decided to go respond to this tribute, one of the little tricks you can do is, I assume his egg is somewhere down at the bottom here. Yeah, there it is after this is dead or channeled, you can get yourself killed so you respawn down here, and it cuts down some travel time.
I love that little trick. That's so annoying to play as against Murky. I'm going to also put this out there. In a general, if you want to get better at this game, know when to give up. And what I mean by that is Sonya, that's down there trying to solo this camp. Great idea, right? We know that as soon as those camps spawn, we want to get them. That is in an ideal world. And on this comp, yeah, Sonya's the one to do it.
This is gold, man, too. She's up here. Okay, ETCs, they stopped my power slide, WTF. Power slide is no longer unstoppable.
Right.
And this is minimap awareness once again. Our Tychus died because you cannot fight 5-on-3. Red team should have realized very early in this engagement that this was done. So here's a recap of what happened. See, I don't know why. Kharazim should be leaving, and Gul'dan needs to come a little bit closer to allow Kharazim to teleport to him. There are a couple of heroes in this game when they're on your team. You need to be aware that you give them an escape. Illidan if he takes friend or foe, Brightwing if she takes blink heal, and Kharazim can teleport to heroes. So get a little closer to help Kharazim get out of there.
Can we take a look at our number 4 here, talent for Tychus?
Absolutely. In the rhythm.
Into the rhythm. Okay, that's fine. That's exactly what I would have chosen. A good thing to note as a Tychus player and as somebody who wants to build up stacks against heroes, guess who spawns more heroes? Samuro. So the one thing that I love to do if I'm Tychus against the Samuro is burn down the clone with the minigun active. Not only am I getting rid of options for my team to not be confused by, I'm also building up those stacks, and you could get lucky and start attacking the first Samuro, or the real Samuro first and foremost. You could possibly force him out of the fight because you're dealing damage to him. But yeah, just a tip to keep in mind.
When Samuro first came out, a lot of people, myself included, were really having problems dealing with him. And one of the ways to counter him is any hero that stacks stuff. So Gul'dan's Corruption quest procs which he took procs on the mirages or mirror images or whatever they call them. I love taking Falstad against Samuro because you can build up your Q so much. So anything, and in this case, Tychus is his D quest.
Tychus is definitely one of them. Okay. Also, I might actually be really critical of the Sonya player. I'm gonna call it now, 20 minutes ahead of time. I think the Sonya cost you guys this game, but let's keep going and see what happens.
So blue team lost the tribute.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you here. If you want to keep playing, that's fine. As Karazim, if you have a Samurai on the other team, you do not take anything other than Earth Ally.
Earth Ally, yeah.
Is literally a wrong choice to choose anything other than Earth Ally when there's a Samurai on the other team.
110%.
That up there.
Yep, 100%. So when we went up there, there was one wall, the gate was up and one tower was up. They're now both dead. The fountain is close to half health. Furthermore, 2 of red team members died because they fought at a disadvantage because Sonya is murking for some reason. I understand why she was doing the giants. She was late on it, so that wasn't a terrible choice. She needed to either give it up and get up there, or her team needed to give up the give up the tribute. All right,
and that's where my previous point would have come from when we were talking about it, was knowing when to give something up, even as simple as a camp. You don't have to stay and get that camp. What are you doing with that camp that's so important that you have to get it right now, where you could have gotten up to the objective and you could have helped your team.
And furthermore, now Sonya is infecting her team with the stupidity. You're already down a full level and she's pulling, and Sonya, by the way, can solo merc camps. I think she needs to be at 7 before she can, is that right?
No, she can do it from 4.
Okay,
if
so
she's got Merc Lord, she can do it from 4.
Which she does.
It is a mistake on this map.
Right, well, furthermore, she should be able to solo them herself, which she's not. She's pinging for help, so she's bringing the tank and the healer up. They're already down a full level, and they're missing 2 lanes worth of soak to get this bruiser camp.
This goes into another point that I kind of want to put out there, in terms of lower level players.
And this is Gold League, man.
You have to understand who can and cannot solo camps.
Yep,
and
Sonya can.
You have to respond accordingly. Something that... Okay, Tychus, you just walked by another pufferfish.
Yep.
I'm just going to point it out every time it happens. Something that you have to be aware of as a team is where your resources are being poured. And you guys put the resources of 3 people into one camp that Sonya could have done by herself. Maybe
Absolutely.
she didn't understand that she could have done that by herself, but she could have done that by herself.
All right, I'm gonna
you walked away from a pufferfish.
I'm gonna flip this script right here. Okay, so let's say Tychus is going the other direction. He's coming down into this lane. What's the order of his abilities to burn down the pufferfish and then burn down Murky?
Auto attack.
On the pufferfish.
Auto attack on Murky.
Okay.
Use your E to get extra range if he doesn't pop his invulnerability right away. And that literally, that should be enough. And I'm not kidding you. That is all you need. As somebody who plays Tychus a lot, you are so much stronger than Murky. It's actually bad for Murky. It's like that's why when Brian first told me about this, I was literally shocked that it was possible for a Tychus to be in a game and not win that game against Murky.
And it's just 100% a symptom of I bet you this is the first time he's ever seen him in a Hero League game.
And that's possible, but you need to know how to deal with it.
Yep, and now you know. And this went back to, by the way, Stitches can't hold the front line. Stitches just lost on the front line. But, look, I told you can't not account for Murky. He has been basically, because he was crushing the lane matchup and being left by himself, he's basically been left entirely to his own devices the whole game.
Yeah, he's the reason why you guys are down levels. He's the reason why you guys are going to lose this game, absolutely. It's because you specifically are not dealing with him.
Yep. And now, to be fair, Karazim can deal with him too. Not like Tychus can. But because he can blow up the pufferfish so fast and self-sustain, he can split the lane with Murky, as in nobody wins it. He just negates it.
Okay, and I'm also going to put this out there. This might be a little bit advanced, but it's on Cursed Hollow specifically, a 5-minute boss is not a bad idea every single time, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yep. You can do it if the team gets there fast enough. And Sonya can also, by the way, get rid of Murky. She's not attacking the pufferfish either.
You walked away from a pufferfish.
Yeah.
I feel ashamed. I love the Relentless Soldier pickup talent here at 7.
Now,
that's exactly what I wanted to see. I'm glad you didn't take quarterback to get the extra range on your grenade.
Your build's good.
With a Stitches,
now, how much,
and a Jaina, and a Malfurion.
How much Murky have you played, Mitchell?
I've played enough Murky.
So, do you know how to counter people shooting at your pufferfish?
Yeah, you pick and choose when you put down your pufferfish.
That's it too. The other thing is you stand on it because they can't click on both you and the damn pufferfish. It makes it much harder.
Absolutely.
So Murky players, you can stand on your pufferfish to make it harder for them to shoot it. Don't worry about this last minion. Get down to the objective. Also, pathing to the objective is important. You are not the tank, so do not rotate aggressively, rotate passively.
Not only rotate passively, know where you need to apply your deeps.
Now, I don't want to see you take this engagement, by the way. If nobody else shows up, you just let them have it. Do not take this engagement until your tank is here.
You know what you could have done here instead?
Grenade.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. That's great.
There you go. Okay.
That's perfect. There you go. Well done. He didn't take the engagement until his team got there. Well played. And your ETC just ate an entire blizzard. I suppose it didn't matter, but...
I'm gonna give you a tip.
He shot the, did he shoot the... Wait. I think he shot the pufferfish. Watch. I think Chelsea shot the pufferfish.
The first thing to know about Tychus is that his minigun and his overkill do not stack.
So don't use them at the same time?
Never use them at the same time because you will waste your minigun. Go ahead and play it.
Alright, let's see. There's the pufferfish. Yay! He shot it. Nicely done. So you know you can't shoot it.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. That one's gonna drive me crazy. The second tip that I'm gonna give you is Tychus. Never, and I mean, there's very few things that I say so definitively in Heroes. Never, ever, as Tychus, open up an engagement with your Q. And there's a very specific reason for that. You put yourself at a disadvantage because you're actually losing out on DPS. Your Q in a given amount of time will not do as much damage as your minigun will to a target if you're fully on them for the full duration of your minigun. Second of all, your minigun is now down for the rest of the engagement, and your minigun is a chase tool. When I'm 1v1ing people, when they don't understand that they can't 1v1 me as Tychus, the first thing I'm doing is opening up with minigun. The second thing I'm doing is grenading them, and then I'm following them with the overkill as they think that they can get away. Or I'm following them with the overkill and then popping a grenade in there to kill them. Either way, you should never, ever open up an engagement with a Q. And this is an engagement. This isn't clearing waves. You should always clear waves with a Q first. This is anytime that there's a team fight around. Your Q should be one of the last things on the list in terms of your DPS, because it's one of the least useful things that Tychus can have. The best thing about it is it helps him reposition, and it helps him get AoE damage as opposed to just single target damage. So I'm going to try not to hound on it too much, but both times that I've seen you engage on the other team now have been you opened up with your Q. You could have gotten a lot more use opening up with the minigun with the trait, the D, than you could have with opening up with the minigun. It's obviously not hurting you guys because you guys are kind of ahead right now, so it's not that big of a point, but if you want to get better at Tychus, know when and where to pop all of your abilities and how they work in accordance with one another.
So, that's all stuff that I would not have been able to tell him because I don't play Tychus. Ulti selection here. My amateur just playing against / with Tychus, I would go laser.
Pros take Odin constantly. If you watched HGC this morning, which I know you did,
I did. They picked Odin.
every single Tychus game was Odin.
Now, but
which
what-
isn't a bad thing.
Do you know the difference? Why is because the pros will just turn and burn the laser down right away.
Yeah.
And
They know that counterplay element,
Right.
and if your team is in a position where the other team can't counterplay you hard enough, then the laser becomes such a good tool for Tychus. So yeah, great ulti
Now,
choice here for Tychus.
I backed it up because I wanted to see. There's a fight developing, and Chelsea Boots is in the top lane. So here's what I want. So he chases them off. He backs up. Now he hurts here, and I don't know why.
No reason.
Yeah.
I'll say this again. We've said this before on the podcast, but I'll say it again. It's never, and I mean never, as fast to Hearth then travel somewhere than it is to just travel somewhere.
Right.
Literally, it takes you more time to Hearth to travel the top lane than it would have if Tychus just traveled.
And another
the
thing
top
is,
lane.
I'm curious why he's going to the top lane. Both teams are 10. This is when 5-on-5 team fights happen. It's not like a Murky is dragging you up there. So the laning phase is over. I would like to see you with your team. Especially because you're half of your team's damage, you and Gul'dan.
Oh my god, you guys, attack the pufferfish.
I know, right? They move out of the way of it rather than just attacking it. Now, I like the retreat pings. That's great. And now everybody's going to die.
Yeah, Sonya got gorged.
Yep.
It's gonna be fine. Fear came out to kind of help.
And
that
no
around.
Tychus this whole time. This is a big deal.
But because there's no Tychus there, they're gonna lose on this engagement.
Yep. You are so much of your team's damage, and furthermore, at least if you're going to be up there, okay, good. At least get on the tribute right away. Ironically, this is going to get your team a curse.
Yeah, right.
But you really should have been down there with your team.
Because you guys could have had that team fight and then everything else that you are about to do and have your curse.
I disagree with ETC. I do not think they will go boss because your team just got a curse. Now,
Yeah,
Tychus,
if,
you're in prime position to get picked off here with nobody on the map, so just be aware of that. Really watch that mini-map.
Never let anybody convince you that to take boss during a curse, unless there's about 10 seconds
Yeah,
left.
right at the tail end is okay. But other than that,
And
you want to at least get soaked from 2 lanes, and you want to push lanes. I mean,
and I'll give you a tip that I learned from Brian early on in my career, which is when there's a curse occurring and when you have the
yeah,
minion
get in this team
advantage
fight.
in a lane, just bounce.
Yeah.
Just go do something else that's useful because you are because the minions will get it.
Yep.
Another engagement where you opened up with Q, and that it sucks.
Oh, that
It's
pufferfish
just-
is going to wipe out everybody. They're all going to eat that pufferfish. Yeah, so specifically what he's saying is when you're taking out, let's say, this mid fort here, when it's at about half life and you have... Excuse me. When it's at about half health and you've taken out their minion waves, your minion waves will actually stack up. So you'll get 2 of yours clumped up on the fort. Not only will they destroy the fort, but then you get like a super minion wave. Because there's 2 of them together that they have to deal with after the curse is over. So you go to top or you go to bottom, you get the fort to about half health, you make sure there's no enemy creep around, you let the super wave kill the fort, and you just rotate up to the next one. You can get 2 super waves going that way.
Yeah, the minions will clear the fort, they'll clear the tower afterwards, and you will just be fine. If you had showed up just a couple seconds earlier there, maybe this would have turned out different. I hope
this
you guys
isn't
are going for the aggressive boss
okay, boss call. If everyone's there, it's not terrible.
fight. I will tell you why I think this is unoptimized.
It might be unoptimized, not terrible.
Because Murky is a factor on the other team.
Yep.
You guys are going to get away with this, it looks like.
Well, because they all showed up together. I think that's the most important thing in Solo Hero League, is getting the team moving in the same direction. If it's not the optimal choice, at least they all did it together and got it done.
Right. Absolutely.
See, there's the power slide they used on there. I mean, okay. You got it,
Oops, for what?
but... Yeah. And now I do like the double pause call because they're showing bottom. Yeah, that's a good call.
Love the double boss.
Yep,
always.
for sure. And also, they did have Sonya Merklord, so that's something to take into account when you're debating these buff calls, too. Oh, non-boss Mercs, yeah, so that doesn't matter.
Did we think that's the stuff at 13?
Yes, he did. So your build, my friend, is spot on according to Baby Cthulhu here.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see how the rest of this game goes. This is where, when I'm Tychus, I start to make people afraid of me.
But once again, look where you are relative to your team. Post 10, most of the time, there's exceptions to every rule. Post 10, more often than not, you should be with your team.
You guys are about to get this camp down here. That's the wrong call. You guys should be pushing a fort.
Yep. One of the ways to counteract Mercy's pushing the bottom is if you guys all push with this boss top.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also going to go out on a limb here. If we could take a look at Tychus's view really quickly, and can we check on his Into the Rhythm stacks? Because I don't think that he has very many right now.
Oh, there he is.
You hover over the tooltip under the health or the
0.75 seconds.
You are 10 minutes and 30 seconds into this game. Again, please don't take this personally. That's really, really bad. You've got a Samuro on the other team. You've got a Stitches on the other team. If I'm 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes into this game, I've got at least 1.5 to 2 extra seconds on my movement.
Well, and all the more reason not to be split pushing, because in order for you to build that up, you need to be shooting people.
And this goes back to the earlier point I had of you never open up an engagement with Q. Because every time that you do that, you are losing value on your traits and on the ability that you are putting value into. You spent talent choices on this ability that you are underutilizing. It's part of the reason why you will probably start to lag in damage by the end of this game. It's probably part of the reason why you guys start to lose, because you can't pump out enough damage fast enough in order to get that
What are these two doing? What in the world? Okay, I was just going to say Red Team is doing a nice job of using the Mercs to put pressure on the map to counteract Murky. It's another way to do it too, because he's dealing with red Mercs here rather than, putting pressure. This is silly. You do not invade the other team's Merc camp with just the two of you when it's 5-on-5.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Brian.
And when you're leaving him out to try on the tribute.
Specifically because we know that our blue team is gonna rotate up to this because tribute spawns. If one of the three of you dies right here, that's on you guys.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. Okay.
We talked about this last game.
I don't disagree that it's stupid. I also don't necessarily think that it was a wrong choice in all, because it's not a curse point.
Right.
Split push is great against Murky. You need that extra pressure elsewhere. They could have gotten that camp and then rotated to bottom and gotten the bottom fort. I mean, there was a lot of things that getting that camp could have enabled them to do. They just didn't play it off right.
Now,
I would agree with you in that it was the wrong choice, because it was what we said last game, which is you were literally doing something for your team that your team doesn't know how to
cash
take advantage of. Yeah. The great mosh pit, except for you missed the Jaina.
Yeah. Well, and this is the kind of give and take of Murky. Tychus blew up really quick in this battle because he took a battle without Sonya and Gul'dan there. So that's something they need to be aware of. They need to play passive until they get up there, and if you lose the tribute, you lose the tribute. Whatever. However, even though he died, Red is still on pretty much equal footing because Murky is down here. However, Murky is starting to push pressure on a keep, so... But if Red loses this, while Murky is in lane, that's a problem. Nice job, Sonya. Now, Tychus, you either need to get up the tribute or go handle Murky, one of the two. And this is dumb of Stitches. I agree with you, but...
Yeah, 100%. They are 3 down before they just got the Stitches.
Well, and Stitches is not going to take out Sonya and Karazim, and it was silly of him to try.
Exactly what I was about to say. Again, don't take this personally. I think that there is no reason why you shouldn't respond to Murky right there.
And actually, and soak is the wrong thing. At this point in the game, you're not. I mean, you're always soaking, but you're not staying in the lane for the purpose of soaking 13 minutes into the game generally.
Also a useless phrase. Stop saying that to people. It means literally nothing.
And when I think in this game, I think at the end of this video, he'll obviously get this. But your team's answer to Murky is you.
Yeah,
Tychus.
exactly. Can we check our tab? Can we check our score screen really quick?
Yeah.
I want to see where our hero damage is at for Tychus right now.
He is 60. That's way low. That's way low. Part of that was there was a couple team fights where he was split pushing instead. That's why his siege damage is fairly high.
Well, I'm gonna put this out there too. Part of the reason is he opened up every engagement with your overkill.
Right.
This is exactly what I was talking about before in terms of losing out on DPS, losing out on your abilities, losing out on a huge part of what makes Tychus so strong in the first place. He is a hero killer.
Okay.
He is the guy you want to put on somebody that the rest of the team can't kill because he can do it.
What is wrong with this engagement right now?
Somebody's responding to Murky who shouldn't respond to Murky.
One.
And what are you doing, girl?
So Sonya is in the top lane for no reason, and furthermore, you, the backline DPS, are currently holding the front line with Kharazim. This is a ping retreat until it won't let you ping retreat anymore moment. ETC should be up here with you guys, and even if he was, you're not taking this fight.
I'm gonna be super.
And okay,
to have this fight.
Jaina's, you can speak to Tychus. I can definitely speak to Jaina. Ring of Frost is really hard to hit unassisted.
Yeah.
So initiating a fight with Ring of Frost is
Never a
almost
good
always a bad idea. That is a perfect example of why. And that is not good laser usage because they just burned it down.
Never on the retreat. Your laser is never gonna save you on the retreat like that. It's just not going to. Maybe if somebody's really not.
Now
up to
Sonya's
snuff,
coming.
Maybe if it's a tracer, maybe that will.
She's going to get to look like a hero, dude. She's going to ride in just in the nick of time. Okay, and let's talk about Samoro's Bladestorm. A lot of people run from it. Unless you have some kind of movement speed, you're not going to get away from it. So attack him. Put damage on him. He still takes damage. You just can't root him or stun him or stop him. Kill him.
Use your minigun, pop your minigun, and just shred the guy.
So that turned out well, mostly because I'm going to put it on Jaina for completely wasting her ring. See, and by the way, this Sonya is perfect. That your spin to win on Samuro clones, exactly right. I will say the Sonya mechanically has been solid, but her decisions on the map have not been. This is a good boss call. As long as they get up there, of course.
It's not because ETC's not there. You have to wait. Patience is such a virtue in this game.
Yep. Now it's time to go, though.
You guys just handed boss away. I mean, you guys went
At least it's at full life there. I don't know what ETC is doing now, though. Now it's done. You're just leaving. Go away. I don't know how Blue Team didn't... Oh, look at it. He friggin' crowd surfered over the wall to kill himself. Did you see it?
There's too many things to say. Why were you there in the first place? Why did you decide to power slide that way?
Why did you pick that talent?
So many things. Only so much time in the day.
Yep, that's why you don't take that talent.
Throw you over anything. You did that yourself.
Okay, now let's talk about this situation. Now, one, fighting them down here because Murky showing top is not the end of the world if Sonya were here, because it would be 4-on-4. The other
How did this engagement start? Can we move back like 5 seconds?
This engagement started because they figured out they were going for boss after the ETC pick. And so they came down to contest the boss.
Well, then that's easy. Why the hell are you guys contesting boss?
That's where I was going. If Sonya were there, it's a 4-on-4, not terrible. But the other thing you can do is simply trade bosses.
Yeah. Well, why aren't you guys
just
your own
trade
bosses?
Yeah. ETC is your main tank, Sonya is not going to be able to do the same things he can, so fighting 4-on-4 with Murky top lane, not the end of the world, but the better call is to simply trade bosses. And actually, you guys could trade bosses with Sonya down here and get both if you wanted to. And that happened, Chelsea Boots, because you took an engagement without either one of your frontliners, and you had to operate on the front line, and you died.
I think Jaina listened to you. She used that Ring of Frost on a follow-up.
Yeah. And you know it, you even said right here. Also, I don't like that 7-sided strike. What's the cooldown on that thing anyway? 50 second, okay. But I mean, it doesn't do anything, and you're going to die anyway. You just basically put your heroic on cooldown for no reason.
But Divine Palm on an ETC or on a Sonya or somebody who can get that health back.
Yep, and now look at the Sonya. Get out of there, you guys.
So valuable.
And
but, yeah.
look, Murky unaccounted for still.
Yeah. This entire game.
Yeah, and I hate to keep picking on Chelsea Boots. Is your job. Is your job, yeah. And I know it's because you just didn't know these things, so now you do. But in this comp, it's Tychus' job to handle the Murky. And he is correct. They do need to move as 5 now, except they need to move as 5 and respond to Murky. And remember what I said, by the way, about going to the bottom of the map with the egg? See, I don't know what Murky is doing here. This is silly by the Murky. He died up here, spawned at the bottom. Murky should be pushing with the boss.
Yeah, there's no reason not to push with the boss at that point.
Yep. Now you're going... Sonya is going to try to solo boss. I wonder if we'll have the same feeling on this. My feeling on it is Sonya is okay to do that if the whole blue team shows up bottom. If they don't, she needs to be down here with her team. I would prefer her just to be down there.
Yeah, this was the wrong time to do it.
Right.
Why? I mean, I'm gonna, like I said at the beginning of this game, I bet you, and I'm not a betting man, but I bet you that Sonya's the reason why they lose this game. Time and time again, she is not with the team when she needs to. And this is just, it's just asinine. It is just absolutely.
That's a good place for the laser.
Yeah, it's a great place.
That's a great place for the laser.
I could talk about that Sonya all day. Sonya's the reason why you guys lost.
Nice mosh pit.
Okay. You guys get him anyways. Okay. The only thing I was gonna say there is, why aren't you attacking Malfurion? I understand. Yes, your trait technically does more damage if you are attacking Stitches. However,
now look, Sonya is actually going to give up Curse to get this boss now.
For no reason. Yeah, Sonya's the reason why you guys lost this game. 100%.
Sonya could have stopped that. Look, Sonya could have stopped that, and then you guys could have gotten the boss together if you wanted to.
There's no reason for her to not move away from that boss.
Basically, you just traded winning the top lane for losing the 2 bottom lanes. And, you know, at this point in the game, as you evaluate your teammates, Red Team just needs to be aware that when Sonya is there, she is solid, but she's just not there that much, and they need to account for that. And Murky has her combo, and it's brutal if you don't know how to deal with it. I'm going to laugh if she loses that. Yeah. Sonya mechanically is fine. It's her decision making on the map.
Yeah, it's 100% the decision making. I mean, there's
no
reason.
What is this?
There's no reason for some of the things that are happening to happen in this game. It's spelled out for us why you guys lost. You walked past a pufferfish. The Sonya's not responding. ETC's in the wrong places. You guys started off okay, and then the team cohesion just kind of left you guys at a certain point, and that's just unfortunate. Why Hearthstone, buddy?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. Maybe to take care of the Katas on core?
Right, but guess what's faster?
Just going over there. Yeah, like I could see Harthing if he would needed like mana or life, but he was full.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll hear us say those things a lot, just because
See, once again,
little decision-making things.
Look
that
at all
start
this,
to make it
all the resources that Murky is stealing from ETC.
A lot of these things that we say aren't going to make or break the game.
There's the unassisted
better
Ring
at
of Frost that hit 3 people.
So a decent Ring of Frost.
Nice laser. That's a good laser. And look, our tank is... I know he's trying to deal with ETC, but that's not his job.
Nope.
He needs to be here. The people on this team that can deal with Murky is basically anybody but... I mean, Karazin can do it, but it should be Sonya, Gul'dan, or Tychus. If somebody
And
needs
honestly,
to...
I'm going to put something out there at this point. Murky has ridiculously...
Oh, he killed ETC.
Yeah, he did. He has ridiculously diminishing returns when it comes to towards the end of the game. This Murky built into his pufferfish. However, if ETC was there, that fight would have turned around. You guys are level 21. You guys could have gotten multiple keeps out of that and possibly the game.
Yep.
If ETC had been at that engagement and would have been ready to go, you guys would have been... You guys probably would have won.
It's Gul'dan and Sonya and Tychus. If somebody needs to split off, those are the heroes that do it. And look at the response that he's... It's like such an over response. And look, once again there's a tribute, and once again Sonya is working on the camp.
This is not a map to solo Merc. This is not a Merking map at all, really. This isn't...
Now, it didn't work out okay because his team was there.
This isn't Blackheart's Bay. This isn't Garden of Terror.
Okay. 2 things. First of all, Malf, you know Stitches is going to hook them. You put the root under the hook, not out here. I don't know what he was doing. Secondly, so Tychus, in this situation where nobody is visible on the map, you know they're up here. You're not the guy to face check. I mean, you walk away, it's okay. There's the unassisted ring again, and Tychus is going to Blizzard. Nice job on Karazim to keep him up. Shoot him, don't run from him, shoot him.
And again, there was another engagement where you opened up with Q, and you just destroyed your guys' chances of winning the engagement.
Now, at this point though, somebody needs to respond to Murky. I nominate Gul'dan, but any of those 3 guys can go do it right now. And only one of you needs to go back. Sonya, Gul'dan, or Tychus. Oh, nice job, Gul'dan. There you
He's
go.
already there.
Nice. Perfect. You guys need to make sure you get top keep out of this. I mean, the Mercs or the minions might do it on their own, but you really want to make sure you get top keep. Now, Gul'dan needs to stop messing around down here and get up here. He did his job, now join the team. This is almost a win condition right here. It's very close.
They still have 25 seconds to do it, and that's why it's a win. Again,
Not if Murky
walked by a pufferfish.
Yep. Not if Murky explodes Karazim though. Now, if everybody gets on core here, 15 seconds without Jaina and Stitches, it's close. It's pretty close. But nobody's still on core yet. See, now your chance is over. Nobody's on core yet. Now, maybe this is probably where he said he Q's the minion wave instead. I bet you it's right here. He meant to do it to the core, and he did it to the minion wave. But so the question is there really ever a reason to Q the core, maybe for repositioning? Everybody should be wailing on the core right now. Okay, now, there, you don't stand in that Ring of Frost. You haven't moved in a long time. Your E was up. You have to juke that.
I mean, it depends, right? Because you get the resistant off stuns, and so sometimes it is actually more beneficial to do it. Not in that case, because Ring of Frost does a crap ton of damage.
And it's not just the Ring of Frost damage, it's the damage that you allow her to put on you afterwards as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, you guys did get 2 keeps out of this. What you need to do here is back up. Yeah, she's either going to get out or she's not. Maybe ETC puts a good peel down. Great, now you get out, yeah. Now, blue team has a win condition right here. They need to rush core. And with 3 minutes left in this game, no, they're going to boss and rush core. I guess it's the same. It's unnecessary, though. Wonder what.
Yeah, they have a lot of siege damage. I would have just gone for the core.
Yeah, well, it's an open lane. Although I guess that lane is pushed pretty far, though.
While we're waiting.
Oh,
here,
Jaina's going to get killed by the boss. Oh my goodness.
I'm
Positioning people.
Say that part of the reason why you guys lost this game is because you as Tychus weren't using your trait effectively. If you ever watch me play Tychus, I am crazy flippant with my trait usage, with my minigun usage. I'm sometimes using it at like some like the worst points in the world.
I don't know what is Gul'dan doing.
Specifically because
Murky's gonna kill. Oh, he has the
your trait in your D is the benefit of Tychus. When you come to an engagement and you start to attack people and your D is not on immediately, you're losing DPS. When your D is not on immediately, you're losing out on healing. You're losing out on that extra space that you could have had in terms of your bonus time. Yeah, and you are essentially you're losing out on a lot of DPS. I mean, go to tab, and I can guarantee you that Murky has more hero damage than our Tychus right now.
Now,
just because of the way that you've proceeded to choose how to.
We're gonna have a core rush here, core race.
Why we aren't back defending core
they're gonna,
right now?
Because they're probably going to lose anyway. He made the all-core call, which I don't disagree with, but everybody's got to do it. And they might, with Katas, be able to do it anyway. Let's see. With Gul'dan there, it would have been a much closer thing.
And you said you queued the wave, which you did.
Oh!
What?
What?
That was almost unfair. The fact that you guys lost.
You know what? I said I liked the call if everybody went back. Gul'dan's damage there would have made a difference.
Yeah. Not only would, yeah, you're right. The Q on the wave was a wasted Q.
Yeah, but that's just one moment at the end of the game. There was a lot of things in this game that.
There was a lot.
Yeah. So
I mean, it was all over the place. Okay, right there. At the very end. I tell this to people all the time, stop paying attention to minions. You guys are level 21 and
get on the damn core.
You guys have a win, like right there in front of you. You guys are a dick's length away from winning this game, and you threw it away because you just had to attack a minion wave. This is something I see lower level people do all the time. This is something that I see our friends do all the time.
Especially on a game where you're making a core race. You've intentionally... Right. The team call was race the core, so the only thing that matters is the core.
Right. It doesn't matter how much damage you take. It doesn't matter what's in the way. Nothing matters. Sonya was already there. You don't need anything to tank damage. Sonya's taking damage. Go attack the core. That's what's going to win you the game.
So,
again, like we just said, there was a lot of things to improve on here. Attack the dang pufferfish, please. For the love of God,
like I said, he just didn't know. I'm sure this is the first time because Murky's just not around right now. So after watching this, now you know.
I don't think that that's an excuse. I honestly don't think that that's an excuse. To be completely honest, there's enough other ways to go against a Murky other than Hero League. Fine, maybe you only play Hero League in this game. Fine. Even if you do, if you're playing a competitive mode only, you need to know how to counter heroes.
Yep, and now you know though. But you know what? He's seeking out knowledge because he sent in the replay, so he's trying to get better. Now you know. The damage is a little low for a Tychus, and I think that's a result of the two things: the trait, not optimization.
Misuse.
Yeah. that Mitchell talked about, and then also those kind of early game where you weren't with the team and they were fighting kind of thing, where you split pushing for some reason. That's part of it too. That's why your siege damage is so high. So those are a couple things to do to think about. So you need to change how you think about your engagement with regards to Tychus's kit. And then if you ever find yourself in a murky game again, shoot the damn pufferfish. Your team actually did an okay job of responding to him. They didn't completely ignore him. But I mean, 276k siege damage, so...
33,000 XP contribution.
Yeah, that's a ton. That's a ton. But this...
And you guys, and part of the reason why we harp on it so much is because you guys literally just handed that damage, that XP contribution to that Murky.
And you know what? Nobody on his team attacked the pufferfish, so it wasn't just you. So obviously, it's not just you. But attack the freaking pufferfish. Yeah. If there's anything you learn from this, attack the pufferfish.
If there's one thing.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to go Team League it up a little bit. I will be streaming that. If you're at all interested, come hang out. And Mitchell, I'm going to go off for about 5 minutes, and then I'll be right back.
Cool. Have a good night, everybody.